Jimmy. Let's see what this dude, my man Jimmy High Roller, got talking about.
In the NBA, I don't think there's a single topic where everyone is in agreement. In all my days,
Facts.
all the debates, takes, forums, media, I have never seen everyone come together and agree on anything. Until a
Facts.
few days ago. All thanks to this man. In a collective act
That shit
unlike
was
anything
hilarious
we've
as
ever
fuck.
seen, NBA players have joined forces all to tell this guy he's wrong.
He is
The worst
chatting.
part, he might be right.
I have to watch the NBA Finals, and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what?
World champion of what? It's just all about the tone of how he
Excited
said
to
that
announce the
shit.
sponsor today. Riddle, broad help the helpers, better high shield, and basketball converge. I would know. They're my two favorite sports, and they virtually exist in two different planes of reality. But a few days ago, the two sports collided, all thanks to one little interview that got blown completely out of proportion. So what better opportunity for me to blow it even more out of proportion? You see this guy right here? This is Noah Lyles.
Yes,
He's
sir.
the fastest man in the world. And this past week, he pulled off the coveted triple gold at the 2023 World Championships, winning the
Triple
100,
gold.
the 200, and the 4x100 relay. A feat that hasn't been pulled off on the world stage since 2016 by an athlete y'all may or may not be familiar with, named Usain Bolt.
Of course.
Yeah, Noah Lyles is really good. And after
Noah
his
Lyles.
historic week on the track, Lyles had some strong words about the idea of being a world champion and how some leagues use the title when they probably shouldn't.
That hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals, and they have world champion on their head.
They have world
champion
champion
of what?
of what?
The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times. But that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
Now,
So
this
there ain't
sentiment
no
of a
flags in the
domestic
NBA.
league claiming a world championship despite never facing other countries to win the title has been echoed
You can't be
for
world
years.
champs if no one
And
else
it
takes
makes
part.
sense. In order
Super
to
Bowl
be a
considered
world
champion
champion
with world
you need to beat
champions
the rest
title.
of the world. In 2010, Greg Popovich, who has been the head coach of the U.S. men's national team since 2019, said it doesn't make sense for an NBA team to call themselves the world champions. I don't remember anybody playing anybody outside of our borders to get that tag. Popovich, along with countless others, agree with Lyles. There's not really much to debate here. Until NBA players saw the interview.
A lot of NBA players. D-Book just straight up just put a nigga. D-Book straight up just put a put his brain in a bird and the bird will start flying backwards. Can't make this shit up. Hello, is somebody going to tell him? I knew by the way his braids was done he was gonna say something nutty. Whatever, I'm smoking buddy and at 200 meters. He sound dumb and mad. Wants all the smoke for no reason. Somebody help this brother. Big fan, but go. I love UD's comment. That nigga got the most old head comment on here, chat. That nigga UD said, big fan, but go on with that bullshit, bro. Hashtag sucker shit.
In the most unanimous voice of opinion I've ever seen in my 7 years covering the NBA, players across the league chimed in on the discussion. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, Aaron Gordon. The whole damn NBA pulled up to drop off their 2 cents about Noah Lyles' comments. Have you ever seen anything like this? This man had the whole league descending on him over a few
The
words.
whole league.
Every single one of them in universal agreement that the team that wins the NBA Finals are, in fact, the world champions. And you know what? They're right. The team
They
that
are.
wins the NBA Finals in any given season are the world champions.
It
And
was the
here's why.
best players in the
See, I
NBA.
love track and
Best
field.
players
I
in the
ran it
world.
college. It was my best sport. One of my closest friends, CJ Allen, represented the U.S. and ran at the World Championship meet this past week. And so I feel I
Nice.
have a solid perspective on this
WCJ.
debate. I understand where Noah is coming from. He didn't just earn the title of world champion by simply being the best in the world. He earned the title by beating
Beating.
the best in the world. The title of world champion doesn't inherently come from being the best in the world. It comes from winning a competition that includes the entire world. Or
Does it?
See, in most other sports, like the vast majority of sports, in order to be crowned a world champion, you must win some form of competition or tournament on a world scale. Whether it's the World Championships, the Olympics,
basketball,
the FIFA
we'll
World
get to
Cup,
that
even
later.
the Little League World Series. A lot of sports fans believe the route to win a world title means beating the rest of the world.
That's
and
true.
rightfully so. But when it comes to basketball, specifically,
Different
the
story.
NBA, I would disagree. The NBA, despite the word national literally being in the name, is a league comprised of the best basketball players in the world. It isn't some second-rate league. It isn't a sport that's only played here in the States. It is by far the best basketball league on the planet. In fact, out of 537 active NBA players,
How many is them?
128 of them are international
24%.
players. That's 24% of the league. The OKC Thunder have 9 international players from 5 different countries on their roster alone.
From 5
Unlike
different
a sport
countries.
Like American football, which is almost exclusively played in the US, basketball is a worldwide sport with leagues around the globe. The best players from every country all ending up in the NBA.
Facts.
Now sure, the NBA Finals isn't technically the World Championship by definition, but an NBA championship team is naturally the world champions since the league is home to the best talent
in the world.
Would it be anything more than a formality to send, let's say, the Denver Nuggets to Spain to play the Real Madrid basketball club, parade around the world to prove they are definitively the world champs? No. And yet, that is exactly what some NBA teams do. Since 1984, and held nearly
Moscow.
every year since, a handful of NBA teams play exhibition games against international teams. And since 1984, there have been 178 of these NBA teams versus
178
international teams.
NBA teams versus international teams. I guarantee you, I'm gonna put money on it. There's been 50 or less wins. I promise you, international. 50 or less.
Team games. Of those 178 games, NBA teams have won 161 of them.
I said 50! They don't even have even have 20 wins. USA! USA!
Giving NBA teams a
USA!
win percentage against international teams over the last 4 decades of 90%. In fact, the NBA's record against international teams over the last 42 games is 41-1.
41-1.
Worst teams in the league
haven't
last
lost a
season
game.
won only 33 games. I would know. Unfortunately, they're my team. Last October, they faced this team, a team out of the Israeli National Basketball League with a name I won't even try to pronounce.
I see what a
And
name
the
I won't-
Blazers blew them out by 53 points.
53
The
points?
Unfortunately, worst teams in the league.
The
last season
Blazers were
won only 33
literally
games.
26th place.
I would
and
know.
they blew
Unfortunately,
out an
they're my team.
overseas
Last
team by
October, they
30.
faced this team, a team out of the Israeli National Basketball League with a name I won't even try to pronounce. And the Blazers blew them out by 53 points.
50!
Here's another game from last season where a ragtag OKC Thunder lineup played a game against a team from the Australian National Basketball League
Australian?
and beat them by 33 points.
33.
Half of these Thunder players don't even see the court in the NBA, and they still blew this team out. In 2019, the Cavaliers, who were the worst team in the entire league, faced off against one of the better teams in South America and smoked them by
Sheesh!
31. This
Damn!
Cavs team was the worst team in the entire
The-
NBA.
Keep in mind, chat. This is what for people that said that NBA people aren't world champs. This is the worst NBA team. The worst record. They are not better than any other NBA team, and they still out
They
here.
still ran a premier international team out of the building. Just look at these results from past games. They're almost all like this. NBA teams don't face international teams for world basketball supremacy
For a
because they don't
reason.
need to. The best teams in the world, without exception, are all here in the NBA. If there was a world tournament for every pro basketball team to have a shot at winning a world championship, the last team standing would just be NBA teams. And then we just added a whole bunch of steps to what we already know as the NBA playoffs. But
Thank
you
you.
don't even have to look into international.
Thank you, bro. Let me change my battery real quick, bro. Like, Niggas just be chatting just to chat. Ah! Niggas be chatting just to chat. You feel me? Like, niggas is mad.
Competition to see how the NBA is a worldwide league. Last season, 6 of the top 8 NBA MVP candidates
Were all
international players.
There you go.
The player who won the award, an international player, as was the MVP in 2022 and 2021 and 2020 and 2019. And in terms of odds, the player who is favored to win the MVP this upcoming season is an international player. So is the player in second and third
and fourth.
The first overall pick in this year's NBA draft is from France. And this is really nothing new. 10 years ago, the San Antonio Spurs roster consisted...
Sheesh! Nigga, the San Antonio Spurs roster take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Americans.
Of 10 international players, which was more than the number of US-born players on their roster. Now, we do not have a world championship tournament or competition for individual teams, and I don't think we will anytime soon. But we do have the next best thing, the Olympics and the FIBA Basketball World Cup. And you don't need to be a fan of basketball to know how these games play out. In 1992, the USA men's national team began filling their roster with professional players from the NBA as opposed to amateur players like they did in past years. This is what led to the
started killing niggas.
Dream Team.
The
And
Dream
since
Team was
1992,
killing niggas.
The US men's basketball team has played in 15 world basketball tournaments. That's both the Olympics and the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Out of those 15 world tournaments, the US won 10 of them and medaled in 13. Their total win-loss record throughout that 32-year span,
Sheesh.
111 and 12.
12.
12 losses in 32 years.
12
The average
losses.
margin of victory for the US men's basketball team in international competition, plus 26 points per game.
Sheesh.
For perspective, the largest margin of victory throughout the 2023 NBA season was plus 6.5 by the Boston Celtics.
Damn!
The worst team in the NBA last season had a margin of victory of -10. When the US sends out a basketball team for international competition, the gap between them and the rest of the world is larger than the gap between the best NBA team and
the worst NBA team. Damn!
Does winning the NBA Finals truly make a team the world champions?
Hell yeah!
Well, technically, no. They don't face any international teams. They don't win a world competition.
If we're being technical.
So by definition, they are not world champions. But I mean, come on. This argument is sheer technicalities and semantics. You point me to the team outside of the US that can beat the Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, or the LA Lakers, and I'll point you to a world champion. Being the best in the world
Not
doesn't
happening.
simply make you the world champion, and beating the best in the world surely does. But what if the best in the world are all playing in the same league, and you and your team are the winners of that league? Well, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, that makes you the world champions.
Yeah, exactly. Facts. Facts. WVid. Hey man, you do what you get, what you get, and you get what you get. Simple as that. All right, on to the next vid, chat. On to the next vid. Chris.
This DistroKid is. Oh, you got a text.
Let's do this. All right.